Outside of just announcements, we wanted to take just a little bit of time, so about 10 minutes this morning, and just kind of roll out the plan for the fall. And so hopefully, and thank you for praying this week. I felt like we came to some good decisions. And so we as elders have been just thinking about it and praying about it, and probably like leaders all over our country praying about what is best. I think we're in a season where it's maybe not so much what is right, what is wrong, but what is best in talking about in season. So as elders, we've made a decision this week is what it's going to look like for the fall, and what we're deeming the fall is kind of September through the end of December, and say this is what the rhythms of Grace Hill Church are going to look like for this next season. Not completely irregardless, but a little bit irregardless of kind of what other people are doing and what is happening. And so it could be possibly be modified, but I think we have a good plan. And so we just wanted to share that with you this morning so you can know what to expect at Grace Hill Church for yourselves, for your children, for your teens, as we walk through the next 3 months. And so should have some slides. So if you want to go ahead and go to the first slide. And I always start with our core values. And so the core values of Grace Hill Church, if you haven't seen them before, is that we're going to be biblical, we're going to be relational, we're going to be transformational. And so we always, as elders, we always look through this lens as we make decisions for Grace Hill Church. And so it makes it easy a lot of times to say no to things. And so if it's not biblical, if it's not transformational, if it's not relational, it's pretty much a no. And so it allows us to say yes to things, allows us to say no to things. And so this was the lens that we were looking through as we said, what is the plan? Because feeling like we have our rhythms that we've historically had, but as those rhythms may need to change, and I'll tell you, as we looked at each of the rhythms, we said, is it a go, is it a no-go, or is it a modified go? Does it look different than it has in the past? And so that was kind of knowing that, but also looking through this lens as saying, does it allow us still to be biblical as a body of believers? Does it allow for transformation, discipleship in the lives of the faith family? And also, does it allow for transformation? And we believe that transformation happens by the gospel. It happens by God working in people's lives, and that happens in relationship to one another. And I think that's where we've struggled over the last however long it's been now, 6 months, are we going on 6 months? Is feeling we're distant from one another, and trying to figure out ways that we can bring the body back together in a healthy and safe way. And again, in that, what is best? And so going to that next slide. And so what we've decided is on Sunday service, we're going to continue in person in the live stream. So it's going to look pretty much the way that it is now. Would love to be able to fit everybody in here. We've been looking at the numbers week after week and saying, well, could we go to every other pew? And I think that's, from a safety, I think we could still be fine on every other. The problem is it puts about 1 or 2 families in the gym. Right now, we like last week, we had 8 family units in the gym. So this was full with about 60 people. And then we had about 40 people in the gym. And so the problem I see is that if it feels like you're part of the service, so my family sat in the gym a few weeks ago, and hopefully you have as well, and you feel like, hey, you're still part of the service because you're worshiping with the faith family. So there's some value in those people having at least part of the congregation being in there versus 1 family or 2 families. So we're going to continue riding like this for a while and see the way. So keep it in person. We do have our live stream. We're waiting on engineering from Fast Track to finish up where to plug in. So everything on the fiber's been all installed, and so the fiber optics are all in. We had it all. Everything's installed from the modem, and you know better than I do on the front end, on this end. So we're hoping this week we're going to get engineering to tell DB Tech where to plug in down below. Once we have that in place, then we will be able to live stream this full service every week. So there are some people that aren't attending because they're in a high risk category, and we want to be able to bless them so they can feel like they're worshiping in person with us as we live stream. And so we're going to continue in that fashion. Again, this is from, again, looking at right after Labor Day, so September 7th, if you will, through the end of December, 1st of January.
Right, and that also means that, our AV side, if you notice, we have some new people getting trained. We're going to need more people. We need help. We need help. We need help with people running cameras, people making sure the audio is streaming good to the internet. We need people in the chat room on the internet. We need help. And right now we don't have enough help. And so part of it too is we have to do this together. It can't just be the leadership trying to all put it, we are the leadership. We are the priesthood of believers. This is our job to make sure that all of us are able to participate in its full capacity. That doesn't mean you serve every week. That doesn't mean all these things, but I'm willing to train anyone who would like to help, but we do need help in that world, because once we start streaming, the technical value and the technical, we only got one shot at it, increases. It almost doubles the amount of intensity that our tech crew is going to have. And so we went from having 2 constant people to we're needing 5 almost non-volunteer basis people, meaning we need those slots filled or else we can't actually stream, or we can't actually have a sound system, or we can't actually have cameras going. And so we do need your help in that world.
Great.
Yep.
So Sunday service will continue in the method that we've been operating really for the past, indoors the way we have for the past few months. Grace Hill kids are going to stay, so we're going to stay fully integrated for a while. Can't figure out how to do that in a safe way and keep kids to social distance properly in a classroom, and so we're going to stay fully integrated. I think it's a blessing. I don't know about y'all, I kind of enjoy the noise in the sanctuary. It's kind of strange to enjoy it, but I think, and we've talked about it a lot as elders, is that it's a blessing. And so don't be afraid for your kids to be running around and acting up and screaming. Nobody's offended by that.
Except when Hosea does it, you know.
Then that kid's getting a beating.
Yeah, and he's going to say that.
But so we're gonna stay fully integrated. One thing Clayton's gonna start working on is weekly sermon sheets. So coloring sheets and worksheets for your kids that'll tie out to the sermon. And so we're gonna have those available on a weekly basis so that your kids will have things to work on that hopefully will tie them to the sermon. Pastor Tim's gonna start working on maybe trying to engage your kids from the pulpit, and so we think that's important. So working on some of those elements that are new than the way we've been doing church historically. Home groups, we're not going to have any formal home groups. As you feel led, we just encourage you, as you feel comfortable, get together. Enjoy time together. Spend time together. Get out. Have people over to your home. Enjoy doing those things as much as you can. But we're not gonna promote them. We're not gonna have formal groups, if you will, in homes. And so I think I'll tell you personally, I'm not comfortable having 30 people in my home on a weekly basis. So I'm just not there right now, and so we're not going to ask our home group leaders to do that at this place. We are going to, on a weekly basis, have sermon discussion questions for you as a family. And so at the end of each sermon, we're going to show you those questions. You can take pictures of them, and ideally you're then going home and discussing those as a family, whether it's over lunch, whatever that looks like. Because I'd say, Grace Hill, we've really been about read the word, hear the word, discuss the word. And one thing that we've fallen short on as elders is we feel like we're still doing the read the word, share the word, but we're missing that discuss the word. And it's that discuss the word that allows for a relationship, but it also allows for the word to work deep into you so you can apply it to your life. And so we're going to do a better job of having those discussion questions and encouraging you dads, encouraging you head of households to take and discuss those questions, to allow the word to work deeply into you. So that's what home groups will look like. And then we go into some of the next section. So Wednesday nights. There'll be no formal adult study. There'll be no formal adult study going on Wednesday nights. We'd encourage you, man, there's a lot of studies available. I'm going to show you something here in a minute that you're going to actually get an email at noon today. So here in about 40 minutes, you're going to get an email from Right Now Media. And so this is an access point, and I'll talk a little bit more about it, but I think this is a way to, be engaging in formal discipleship. So we've always said our Wednesday nights were not so much about feeding you, but teaching you to feed yourself. And so now's the test. So today's the test. And so now is about, are you feeding yourself? And so we're going to encourage you to feed yourself as we're not going to be doing Wednesday night adult studies, but to feed yourself. Awana is going to look different. So again, so you can see that some of these things were a no-go. And so Awana is going to be more of a partial go or a modified go. And so we're going to go to an online learning. We're blessed to have Zia Media, who has a studio. And so we're going to be filming lessons. So they'll film them a month at a time for your kids. So they'll log on. They'll be able to watch a video. And this will actually, all those will be on that Right Now Media. So you'll be able to utilize that Right Now Media. You'll see in-house production stuff for Awana. So we'll teach your kids online. They can watch that video. It'll all be posted but if they wanted to watch it at the normal time at 6:30, they could watch that lesson. So they'll get a lesson there, and then we're going to have teachers Zoom in with those classes. So we're going to put those kids into probably 5, 6 kids in a Zoom group. And so their teacher will then interact with them, talk about the lesson, also engage with the Bible verses. So again, it's going to look different. So some of this is trial and error, but I'm kind of excited about it. I'm excited to think that, man, we have the talent in-house to be able to put quality video stuff together and then engage with your kids. And so it'll be 30 minutes. So we're going to keep it tight to 30 minutes through Zoom. And so you can get the Zoom app on, and we'll probably decide whether Zoom's the best or Google's not Google. Spencer's shaking his head. Google's not shaking his head. Spencer's shaking his head saying Google. What's it called? Google.
What is it called? Google Meet.
Google Meet is probably what we'll use. And so we'll teach you how to utilize that technology to get your kids on there, to engage with your kids. And so it's going to look different. Now, there will be a live portion to this. And so on the first Wednesday of each month, if you feel comfortable dropping your kids here at 6:30, so from 6:30 to 7:30, you can drop your kids, and we will do a social distancing game night. And so Clayton is going to head that up, and so we're going to look for games and ways that we can spread those kids out and do it safely. But again, let them get together and spend time with one another. So it's kind of a modified both, a little bit what public schools are doing, where there's an in-person component and then an online component. So you'll be getting more as things go out. So we'll be looking at starting this on September 9th. And so that's the Wednesday following Labor Day. Youth is going to look a little bit different. We feel like the youth need to be together. If you've seen statistics on suicide rates of teens are off the chart, specifically in the state of New Mexico, I think that's just a lack of interaction. And so encouraging our youth to get together. And so it's going to look like a 4-week rotation. I guess let me back up before I get off Awanas. We need help. So a little bit like the AV side, we need help. I was talking to Miss Susan this morning. She thinks she needs about 10 people to do those Zoom calls. And so it's a way that, man, you're like, I don't feel comfortable in person. This would just strictly be on Zoom. And so you're Zooming those kids. The commit would be basically from 7 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. on Wednesday night, just engaging with a group of 5 or 6 kids through the Awana curriculum. So you probably watch the lesson yourself and then discuss that with them. So if that's something you're like, hey, I could help with that, please see Miss Susan. Miss Susan, you want to wave your hand? I think everybody knows Miss Susan.
And I think this is, if I were to jump in, not to kind of belabor a guilt trip or anything like that, but this is where we turn into owners and not renters, right? These are our kids. These are our kids. And if you want to engage with this generation, this is our responsibility. And we need to step up to, and of course, this is unlike anything that's ever happened, but we can respond with the love of Jesus for our children to hear the word weekly. So if you have that tug in your heart, I would encourage you to respond to that.
Yeah, great. And so youth will be in person. And so they'll be in person on a weekly basis. We're going to do everything we can for them to be safe, for them to social distance. And so it's going to be a 4-week rhythm. So it's going to look totally different. So it's, again, a modified go. So in the past, it's always been, we're going to go through a book of the Bible. There's going to be preaching. They're going to then discuss the word. We feel like, man, there's just a real need, especially if the schools are not bringing kids back, for these kids to engage and interact and have a place together. It's partly just to talk about life and engage with what's going on. So week 1, so basically if you looked at a month, week 1 would be what I would call counseling and community. Counseling and community would be, hey, how's your week? What are you dealing with at home? What are you dealing with in school? What are things that you're struggling with? How do we talk through this together as teens, as youth? So that's what week 1 will look like. Week 2 will just be a movie night. So get the kids together. We have a big screen TV in the gym, so they'll be able to spread out. We'll pick a movie, and they'll watch a movie and just enjoy that time together. Week 3 will be more of a small devotional teaching time and discussing things around the Word, probably more topical kind of discussions. And then week 4 will be a social distance game night. So spread them out, do some kind of game night. Spencer's going to need help as well, and that's one thing we talked with him about this week, is that way it doesn't fall completely on him and Allie week after week. And so maybe you're like, hey, I'll take the game night. Me and my wife will take, and we'll handle the game night, or we'll take the devotional and discussion night. And so maybe if you're thinking, hey, we could handle that with these teens and take that off Spencer's plate, that would bless him, that would bless the elders. And so we're going to be looking for people that could serve in that capacity as well. the last slide is Right Now Media. And so you're going to get an email today. And so if we have your email on file, you're going to get an email from Right Now Media. So we've signed Grace Hill Church up. It's actually super affordable. It's $80 a month. And so what I would call Right Now Media is it's basically Christian Netflix. I guess that's the best way to describe it. It's massive Christian Netflix. And so let's say you're cooking dinner and you want to just give your kid the remote because you need to cook dinner. You could give them the remote. You could put the Right Now Media app on your TV. You could put it on your iPad. You could put it on your phone. You could put on whatever it is. They like all the VeggieTales are on there. Adventures in Odyssey. Right Now Media is creating a ton of their own content, again, like Netflix is. And so there's all kinds of video content on there. There's Bible studies. There's video Bible studies. So again, this goes back to like the adult side. You can find all kinds of content on there for feeding yourself and feeding your family. So you'll get an email today. You'll need to log in, set up a password, but that's free to you. And so that $80 a month covers our entire congregation for us to share that with the entire congregation. So utilize that technology. This is where you see technology being used for good. And so hopefully that's a blessing to you. It's a blessing to your children. It's a blessing to your family. And so teens, put it on your phone. Utilize it. There's a lot of just really great content on there. And so utilize that content. This is a way you'll also find we're going to be uploading, so we can build a Grace Hill page in there. So we will be building a Grace Hill page. So you'll be able to go to Grace Hill Church, and that's where you'll be able to find the Awanas videos. So all of our own, we'll probably start pushing even our sermon videos, different content. So this will give you kind of a one-stop spot instead of even having to go to YouTube. You'll be able to go to Right Now Media. It'll link back to YouTube. But you'll still be able to go one spot to get all this content. So this is our plan. And so we feel like it's just good to have a plan. It's good to have a plan and say, this is what we're doing, and we're going to stand on this for the next 3 months, and then we'll be praying about what does the spring look like. But I felt like I'm excited about the Awana thing. I think it allows us to stretch ourselves and see what does it look like and create in-house content that maybe we can even bless other Awana programs with. That's what I've been thinking, is that we may be able to tell Awana's International, hey, there's taught lessons for every grade out of all these books available. If you want to use it, you're welcome to use it. And so what a gift that we can give that, just like we were able to send Pastor Tim today to Santa Fe to bless that congregation, that we can be a church that just gives out content freely. Again, small church, big impact. And so that's who we want to be, for the kingdom. Is there any questions about, that's all that we got today, but any questions about what the plan looks like? Hopefully it's clear. As Bo started off, thank you for just your graciousness. We felt that as elders. Thank you for your prayers. And so we're blessed to be part of this church. I think a lot of churches don't experience people that are just so gracious. I guess that's the best way to say it. And so thank you that you love us in that capacity and love one another. It's amazing. Anything else you have? Let me pray, and we'll be dismissed today. Father, we just praise you for who you are. And Lord, I thank you for Lord Bo and him heralding the word this morning. And Father, that we would see your awesomeness and that we would live lives of humility, Lord, for the kingdom. And see that our hope lies in you alone. Father, I pray for Tim and Steph, Lord, he's probably finishing up at the Blaze this morning, and as they travel back, watch over them, grant them safety. Father, as we walk into this next season, Lord, that you would be glorified. Father, that as some of these rhythms look different, but Father, you would watch over us, provide safety, and Father, that in the midst of it, Lord, it would be executed for your glory, and Lord, that maybe these are systems and rhythms that get shared around our country, around our world, for the kingdom, for your glory. Lord, thank you for the way you love us. Lord, be with us as we go from this place. We ask all these things in the name of Jesus. Amen.